Hello, everyone. IMS welcomes you all to our webinar series, the B School Insider, all you need to know about your dream school. And I'm your host, Kalyani, for this webinar. So in today's session, we will be focusing on MDI Gurgaon, prep journey, campus life, academics and placements. And in this session, you will find out about the prep journey of the 4 panelists who have joined us today from MDI Gurgaon. We will be talking about PGDM, or PGDM International Business, or PGDM Human Resource Management. Which program is best fit for you? How do you even make that selection? Find out about the dual degree offered by MDI Gurgaon, tips on CAT prep, GD, PI, how much weightage is given to the personal interview at MDI Gurgaon, advantages of studying at MDI Gurgaon, and more. So let's welcome our speakers today. We have Yug Sharma. He is from the current batch. He is PGDM Human Resource Management from 2024 batch. We have Manish Shaw. He is PGDM International Business from 2023 batch. He'll be joining Geo Platforms as product manager very soon. We have Chitriyata Goren. She is PGDM from 2023. She is a management consultant at Accenture. Congratulations, Chitriyata. Utkarsh Vijayvargya, he is PGDM from 2023 batch, and he's going to be joining Dr. Reddy's lab in marketing. Congratulations, all of you, and thank you so much for being here for this session. So let's start from the CAT score, interview selection process, tips to ace and get selected at MDI Gurgaon. So let's start from your CAT score, your undergrad background. What was, were you having work experience already, or were you a fresher when you applied, when you were preparing for CAT, and then, so pre-MBA, how much of experience do you have? Yeah, we can start from Yug Sharma. And then we can go to Chitriyata, then Manish, then Utkarsh. Yeah, Yug.
Right. I hope I'm audible.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So, hi everyone. So, if I talk about my profile in CAT, I had a 99.31 percentile. I did my undergraduation from Ahmedabad University in Information and Communication Technology. So that was my academic background. While I was preparing for CAT, I worked with Teach for India. It's an NGO wherein I was working for 2 years. I was teaching a bunch of kids there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll come back to you regarding tips. Yeah. Chitrita.
So hi everybody, a very good morning. So a little about myself. So my CAT percentile was not really great. So I think that you can have the key takeaway from my profile. I had somewhere around 95 percentile. So it just goes on to say that your percentile doesn't matter as much as your overall profile matters. So talking about my profile, I have 4 years of experience. Okay, and uske baad also I have 1 year of gap. So again, one other key takeaway is that your gap also doesn't really matter as long as you're able to justify it. And everything else is pretty regular, 888 profile, 4 years of work ex in IT in Cognizant. So it's a very typical engineering wala profile. So if I can make it, definitely anyone can make it. So, yeah, so more, I'll go on.
Yes, yeah. I'll come back to you with a few questions regarding that. Yeah. So, yeah, Utkarsh.
Hi everyone. So my CAT percentile was 98.99, and I'm a GEM candidate, and I am a computer science engineer with 1.5 years of work experience with Yamaha as a software developer.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. So this is Manish Shaw. So I had 4 years of work experience when I went into the CAT preparation.
Okay.
And my CAT percentile was 97.7.
Okay.
And then I went into the PGDM IB program. Apart from that, there's nothing much. As we go on, we'll definitely have a conversation, and anything and everything I'm up for answering.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about like your CAT prep, and a little bit about like maybe a tip or two? Also, which part was your weak section in CAT, and how did you work on that? Yeah.
Right. All right. So if I talk about my CAT journey, CAT 21 was my third attempt.
Okay.
I given it once in 19 and in 2019 was a serious attempt. I had scored around 95 percentile then. 20 maybe, I think it was more or less around that, but I had decided that I'll join only after I finish my fellowship. So if I talk about my CAT prep journey, it was majorly like I was pretty decent at quant. I was pretty good at verbal, but DILR was a weak section throughout. Like even if you look at my CAT 21 result sheet, DILR was the weakest section out of that. So if I tell you about how did I tackle DILR, we can come to the other two sections later. But if I talk about DILR, I think it was majorly around solving as many past years sets as much as possible. We realized that that is something that is the best resource as far as I could find. Whenever I used to struggle with DILR's question paper, what I used to go back to CAT 18, 17 and see what is the pattern, what is exactly what the question papers are looking into. And otherwise, I think solving other puzzles such as Sudoku and other games available online, which helps you build that logical reasoning in you. I think that helped me push my percentile there a bit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Utkarsh, can you give maybe a tip or two on CAT prep, and also your weak section? Was there a weak section you had?
Yeah, so my weakest section was VRC, but I kind of made it my strongest section. So I scored 99.63 percentile in VRC. And the way I did it was that to not approach VARC by the typical way that everyone does it, like read books and a lot of books and stuff like that. But what I did was to approach VARC by logic. As I mean, these students will be taught about the elimination method and stuff like that. So that basically worked for me. And tips from my side would be that, so this was my second CAT attempt. So I kind of panicked in my first CAT attempt. My preparation was on board, but I got panicked because every time you see that there's a pattern with CAT that there's one section out of the three sections which is tough and which is very tough. And you don't have to lose calm in that. So what happened with me was when I gave CAT in 2019, VRC was very tough that time in my slot. And I kind of lost my calm, and then I spoiled DILR and quants as well. So I guess on D-Day, you have to maintain your calm. And I would just say, I mean, I actually prepared an Excel sheet. I gave, I mean, almost close to 50 to 60 mocks. People usually do is wait for the syllabus to end. But I don't think so there's any prescribed syllabus to CAT. And they just wait for the syllabus to end and then they start giving mocks. What I would suggest is to keep giving mocks from the very first day or after your basic preparation has ended, because it's just, I mean, quants is just 9, 10. And in fact, every section is, I mean, it's not that difficult. It's more about time management rather than the difficulty part. So, I mean, giving mocks is the key.
Okay. Chitreta.
So I think Yoga and Utkarsh pretty much covered it very well.
But you can also tell us how exactly, since you were already working, right, when you were preparing for CAT. So how do you schedule everything around it? And right now, it's May end, so it's just from June till November. So if you are going to tell someone how to schedule their CAT prep, how are they supposed to schedule it from now till from June 1st till the day?
So basically, I would say that, invest at least 2 to 3 hours per day. So it is not just for the sake of, aaj padhna hai, I need to finish this. It's more about consistency. You need to develop a habit of having like 2 to 3 hours just for yourself where you can concentrate and study. Doesn't matter which section you're doing VRC, you're doing DILR or quant, anything, based on whatever is your comfort level. But having that consistency is the key, because once you take a week break or something, you'll be like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. You'll never do it again. So be consistent. I know working is also very hard. Even I had to work for like 9 hours per day plus 2 hours of travel. But sometimes while I was traveling, I just used to read an article. There are pretty amazing websites like Aeon, Kane and all. So I would suggest you go through all that. It's not necessary that you only have to go through newspapers and all. Read very opinionated articles. It kind of gets you into the mind of the writer. And then you'll be able to develop a very logical kind of understanding why this person has written in this kind of a format. So that is something which I would like to say, because a lot of people face problems in VRC. There's no rigid way of learning VRC. I mean, you cannot just okay, I'll go through this, and I'll finish VRC. It's not like quant, it's not like DILR. So maybe think of it from that perspective.
Okay. Yeah, Manish, you want to add anything on CAT prep? Otherwise, we'll move.
Yeah, sure. I'll just try to add one thing, because this, I think, is more relevant. So guys, I decided on 15th August that I'll be giving CAT in 2021. Okay. And I started preparation. So the first thing that I did was I gave mocks. I purchased mocks from IMS itself, because people told me it was very relevant and relevant to the CAT exams. So I purchased the mocks and I gave a mock to understand what's my level, because I never prepared before for CAT.
Okay.
So that gave me an understanding that which part is good. So I gave 2 successive mocks to understand what part is good. And then on, I started preparing. So I could figure out that my VRC was good because I had a usual habit of reading. As Chitrita said, your habit of reading and the kind of opinionated articles that you need to read gives you a better perspective of the different articles that you come across during CAT. And one of my weakest part was via DILR. But I'll tell you something, like the more you solve DILR, you never know like which, there are particular types of DILR. So those sets you might not know, but you never know that during the examination, what could happen. So during my entire mock series, I never solved more than 2 sets.
Okay.
But during my CAT examination, I solved 3.5 sets.
Okay.
And that turned out to be the best part during the examination. So just keep on practicing, and the relevant ones and the past years ones, as Utkarsh was saying, would be better.
Okay, yeah, Utkarsh, you were talking about, how that one section kind of spoiled your entire, CAT on the day of the preparation of the test. So what if, somebody has been scoring really well in mocks and everything, but then this kind of a thing happens? So then what do they do? How do you get back to your that mindset and that focus that, okay, let me move on to the other sections and let me do the best? How do you do that? Is there any tip for that?
See, that's what I'm telling you, is that, I mean, this is a pattern which repeats itself, that there is one section which is always very tough. So an aspirant should be prepared for it, first of all. Yeah. Second of all, treat every section as a new start. So, I mean, what happened with my my recent CAT attempt is that I did VARC. I knew that I did pretty well here, but DILR was the toughest, and I got stuck there. I mean, I attempted the first question, and I was not able to solve it. I could have panicked at that time, but the thing is, if it is difficult for me, then it is difficult for everybody. And in CAT, everything is relative, right? So I guess I scored a score of 14 or 16 marks in DILR, and I was able to score 91 point something percentile in DILR. So it was actually tough for everybody.
Okay.
So it's yeah. So I mean, the thing is that it's all very relative, and you should be prepared that one section is gonna be tough. So I guess that should help.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's move to the next section, because this time, in the academic section, we have to cover a lot, because there are like 3 programs we have to talk about. So yeah. So let's talk about the personal interview and the GD. Can you talk about, okay, for PGDM-HRM, is the personal interview and the GD and everything separate, or is it together along with the PGDM and the others? I'll come back to you as well, Manish, regarding that. Yeah, the process.
Yeah, so the admission process is common. There's no separate round for any of the 3 programs. It's a common process. And also just a caveat here, there's no group discussion that happens anymore. As for the current admission process, there's only a personal interview that happens.
Okay. So now, even for the next year also, is it just because of the COVID times, or is it like now the norm that there will be no GD?
No, this year as well, it happened just a personal interview. I think that is something which the admission office wants to continue. If any update happens, I think we'll know next year during the results, CAT results.
Okay. So now tell me about the selection process is pretty much the same for all programs. Is it true, Manish, even for international business?
Yeah, it's the same thing for all the 3 courses.
So now tell me, so you had to mention that you will be taking HRM right on the day? I mean, when you went for the interview, did they know that you were already you've selected HRM as your program?
So I'll tell you how that happens. So
Yeah.
essentially, you have to fill in your preference while you fill the MDI form itself. That is where you get a choice of 3 programs. You may choose to not select any of the 3, then you'll be considered only for that test. So let's say that I select all 3, like I select both PGDM, IB, and HR. And if at all I feature in all the 3 lists, I will be given an offer letter for all the 3. Then I have a choice to choose which one do I have to take. So that choice is something which you do pretty much later, like after the MDI results are announced, which is usually every year around April to May is when the results are announced. That is when you make the choice. If you apply to all, you will be considered for all 3 programs for a separate list. So that's how the merit list is.
So are you saying that, then mostly everybody would be selecting all 3, no? Because obviously, you don't want to take that kind of a decision right away at the beginning, right? So is it, so Manish, did you also select all 3, or was it like international business was on your mind?
So although I had a preference for international business, but I selected international business and PGDM. I was not, it was my personal choice not to opt for HR. So yeah, it was pretty much the same. So I got a direct shortlist into the PGDM IB course, whereas for the PGDM, I was waitlisted, which I could not finally convert. So yeah, so it's 2 separate lists that came out during my time, and even for HRM.
Okay. Yeah. So you can talk about your personal interview and how exactly HRM happened for you, as in,
Right. So the interview in itself is not very program specific. The interview is majorly general. They will ask you about your profiles. What I have observed over like my interview and the interviews of my friends or senior batches, whenever I have had the interaction, it is very much majorly about your profile. They ask you, like they asked me, like for instance, I had music as my hobby. They asked me a lot about my music, and how do you pursue it? Like how many hours do you devote to it? Then they asked me about Teach for India, as in what exactly is your role there and what are the challenges that you face. So I think they tend to see those managerial skills in you. They tend to see certain instances where you can actually tell them an instance where you displayed certain skills such as time management or critical thinking or problem solving. They tend to see those instances in you. Apart from that, what I see is that the current affairs is also in focus. Like I was at that point, I think it was, I think Air India's acquisition by Tata. That was something in very much in focus there. So that was when I was asked questions around that. That okay, who is the new CEO that is in consideration? So can you tell us a little bit about that? So I think, that's how the interview went. And there was no specific questions specific to HRM. I was just asked as an interview in a preference that, okay, if you were offered all 3 programs, which one would you like to take? And if, for an instance, if I say HR, they would ask me to defend that why are you interested in HR? They might ask a few questions. What is HR? What do you think HR consists of? So yeah, I think that's how.
Okay. And were you already thinking that, HR would be your choice?
I was more or less sure about it. I had read up about HR initially. I knew what it was. So I think, I was pretty much sure that even if I was offered all 3 programs, I'd go for HR.
Okay. Yeah. Chitrata, can you talk about your personal interview and all? And Yog, was yours an online interview or?
Yes, it
was an online one. And how long was it for? Around?
I think it went on for 20 minutes,
25 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Chitrata. Yeah, please.
So Yug just said that his interview went on for 20 minutes. I remember mine only lasted for 6 minutes.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if yours goes on for 20 minutes, because even I panicked back then that mine only happened for 6 minutes. What did they even see? But then it's the quality, not the quantity. So again, I would like to say that I know a lot of people who come from engineering background, they go into software and coding and all of that stuff. Do not try to tell everything only about what your work ex was, because everyone is coming from that kind of a background. Everyone is going to talk about coding, about the full stack developer and whatnot. Don't concentrate on that. See what is differentiating you. So you're telling me about yourself. That exactly, however you're portraying yourself, that is going to be the base of your interview. So at the end of my tell me about yourself, I said that I'm good at decision making, I'm good at problem solving. And the interview went on like that. So one important question that they asked for me was that they put me in a situation where I was the CEO of a company, and unfortunately that company is going to be shut down. So what would be my way of dealing with the employees and delivering the news, and how would I do problem solving there? So I think that was the only question that was asked to me. And somehow I was able to convince them. And it's not just about your answer, but it is also how you're delivering it. Be very confident, be very stern, and keep a very smiling face. Like, I know these kind of questions you don't really expect. You expect that, okay, they'll ask you about the current affairs, they'll ask you about this, but you never know what they'll ask. It depends on the mood, it depends on your previous candidate also. Maybe somewhere they said something interesting and they want to carry that on. So be prepared, just be smiling, and it's okay if you don't know. I mean, of course, you won't be able to know everything under the world, right? Whatever goes on. So it's okay. You can say that you don't know, but just be confident, be smiling. And that's it. That's the most important thing.
Okay. Yeah. Manish, yeah, how was your experience, and was there questions from international business related, like world trade or something related to that? Anything?
So during my case, it was also almost the same. It was 6 to 7 minutes interview as Chitrika.
Okay.
So yeah, although a few questions were asked from like during my interaction, I mentioned about that I like to study about world politics. So there were questions around the same topic, but as such, no particular question from international business, because they don't expect you to know a lot about it, because that is what you will be learning in the course.
But did they ask you anything about why would you like to take up?
The preference question was asked to me. So I answered it in that way, that I would be open to both the courses, but international business is something that excites me because of my particular reason. Like, I was into world politics and overall MNC business, and then my work ex was also when I was in TCS. I was a consultant with TCS. So I was dealing with multiple clients in the Asia Pacific region. So yeah, I just combined my interest and my experience together to just answer this question.
Correct. Okay. Okay.
So multiple such questions will come, guys. I would say that whenever you're talking about your preferences, don't just go on from one perspective, either academic or personal. Go with a varied perspective, so it gives a better idea to the interviewer that you are trying to understand and relate things from different perspectives together.
Okay.
That is one of the good qualities, I think.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Utkarsh, you can talk about your personal interview. How was it? How long was it for? And also, how much do they focus on your profile? As in, how much of they go through your resume and start, taking out points from there and start asking? Yeah, Utkarsh.
See, yeah. So I guess all the panelists study your profile before interviewing you. So they have a set of questions ready, what they are gonna ask you.
Okay.
So the what I think the case with me was that I'm a gym candidate. I have done engineering, decent profile, consistent academics, and there might be many candidates like me. So mine was a pressure interview. They didn't ask me any relevant questions. They asked me questions from here and there, from international business to Indian constitution, random ass questions. I guess what they were trying to figure out is how I behave in a pressure interview and how are my communication skills. They were trying to test my personality, maybe because the faculty which took my interview, she's a law faculty in our college. So I talked to her about it. After getting into India, that why did you even select me? I don't think that I had a very great interview.
Okay.
So like she was like she remembered me. So then she told me that yes, it was a pressure interview and they were just testing me on how I am tackling the questions, even the questions that I don't know answer of. Am I smart guessing? How am I behaving? So I mean, my interview was very different with MBA. So I guess one tip from my side would be that, see, you know your profile. So you are already aware of the questions that will be thrown at you from your profile. So of course, you should be very well prepared with those questions, the general questions, and the questions which you are not sure of. I mean, you should know how to tackle those questions. And I guess that can only help when you start giving mock interviews.
Okay.
I mean, that helps. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, you should actually, while giving mock interviews, you should tell one of your panelists to take a pressure interview.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so that
that's the way to
you are able
practice.
to, yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, you tell me something. I will come back to one question that has been addressed to you. But yeah, first, before that, I want to ask you how exactly, how much of a, because it's something that a lot of people think that MDI Gurgaon gives more weightage to interview. Is it true?
Right. So I would suggest that everyone, all the attendees do visit
Hmm.
MDI's website. You can find the admission process sheet in the announcement itself. So it says that for the final selection, the weightage is like for the CAT score, it's 45. For personal interview, it's 30%. For 10th and 12th, it's 7.5% individually. And the remaining is your work experience. Right. So these are the things which are considered for the final preparation. There is some percentage for the interview selection in which consists of academic diversity and gender diversity. But 95% of the weightage for your PI shortlisting is only your CAT/GMAT score. Right. So your profile is definitely in consideration in the interview, like consistent to every other B school. It is something which also considered by the panelists, etc. But there's no specific criteria that is mentioned. You can look at the website; it highlights everything in detail as per how the admission process goes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. There is a question for you. I will be joining HRM at MDI for 23-25 batch. Can you please help with the program details, like how are faculties? Of course, we will be talking about faculties and placements and everything later on. Also, so this question, the other part of the question is, there is a myth that HRM is a female-dominated field. So, do boys face any discriminations? Thanks for your help. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, I think this is something which I have been addressing since a long time. A lot of people from the 23-25 batch have been reaching out to me with all the stereotypes associated to HR. Even I was bombarded with them when I was joining HR. But it's something which I did not find any of them to be true with, whether it is about the gender or it's about like the pay is not that great or it's about the opportunities are any lesser. I feel that it's definitely not a female dominated field. Like if I talk about my internship experience right now, our team has a very consistent gender ratio, and so is our batch at MDI. So I don't think there is any discrimination on that front. And I think if I talk about the faculty, I think we are discussing faculties and placements later, right?
Yes, yeah.
So
We will talk about the faculties. Yeah, we'll talk about.
Yeah, I think you should. Right. So just a closing note, you should push aside every stereotype that comes around HR. I will give a list of websites that are specifically very renowned for HR. I'll suggest anybody who's even a little bit interested in HR, just go to those websites and read articles. It will help you understand whether you're interested or not. So your decision should ideally be based only if it excites you or not on any of the stereotypes, because that are going to be true, that are going to be there for any other field.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, Utkarsh, can you answer this one? Need some tips for VARC. This is the most challenging section for me.
See, I would suggest start giving sectionals, giving sectionals consistently, daily, and maintaining a Excel sheet of your sectionals. I mean, that is definitely going to work, because that worked for me. I focused on accuracy first, not on the number of questions that I'm attempting. First accuracy, and then on the number of questions I'm attempting with accuracy. So I guess prepare an Excel, and I bet if you are giving sectionals daily, I mean consistently, you will see an improvement in your score. That is the only tip for my end. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Manish, there's a question for you. I got offer for international business program, so we have to find summer internship by ourselves. Can you suggest some skills we can learn right now before joining that can help in getting summer internship?
Okay, so yeah, with the PGDM-IB program and the all the excitement around Europe and studying there, this is the toughest part to find an internship in Europe. Yeah, because in Europe, what happens is you'll normally have to apply for on an average of 200 applications to 300 applications to land into an interview.
Okay.
To land into 5 or 6 interviews, out of which you'll convert one.
Okay.
So process is difficult because there are a lot of applicants, and mostly because we don't know the language of those European countries.
Correct.
Yeah, and the role demands that, because any managerial role you need to either talk to the customer or talk to the clients, which makes it difficult if you don't know the native language.
Correct.
But as is something, when you talk about skills, a lot of people might have told you when you are thinking for an MBA, Excel is a must, right? And I bet you that if you know Excel, any internship you can go through smoothly.
Okay.
So if you guys are not good at Excel, learn it. Other than that, I don't think there is any tool that will help you a lot. Yeah, but if you're looking for any particular thing, like if you're looking for product management roles there, then maybe a little bit more idea about what product management domain is, what are the different tools that they use in product management and project management. These are something that people do learn. For an example, Jira is a tool by Atlassian, which is used a lot for project management. So if you have something like that on the CV, it definitely gives a boost. Plus, if you're looking for finance roles, then any course in finance, maybe from if you are doing CFA, then there's nothing better than that. But if you're not doing CFA, then maybe something related to finance. I don't have much idea about it.
Okay.
So maybe a course in finance on your certificate will definitely push your profile for such a role.
Okay. Yeah, Chitrita, can you answer this? What should be the basic area of focus while drafting a resume? So basically a profile building tip, maybe.
Anyway, the placement committee will help you more with this regard because they know the up and coming trends, what the companies are looking for. But however, I would say that don't make it too technical, because I know a lot of engineers come into MDI because we do not have any such kind of discrimination over here that, you need to be from this background or that. However, we've seen a difference in the recent years. But however, make it more business oriented. Like if you're saying that you are a developer, don't mention that you're a developer. Instead, mention the end value. Like how is it helping your client? Like because of that code, maybe you were able to help the client to increase their efficiency by 20%. Here, that 20% matters more than the fact that you're a developer and that you code in so and so. And because I had a gap year, I did a lot of internships, like not internship, but small NGOs. I used to work with them in the operation side, on the supply chain side. So you can mention all these kind of buzzwords. So anyway, placement committee will help you with that. So if you have some time, instead of doing all those Coursera certificates or Google certificates, I would say that find some small internships. These are actually the places where you can fill in your resume.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, let's move to the next section, academics. So yeah, first we'll take a question which is pertaining to academics. I just saw that question. Okay, yeah. I will be joining MDI this year. How to cope with the hectic first few months? How to keep my composure and sail through it? Yeah. Okay. So maybe a second year, as in a current batch. Well, you would like to answer? And a part of it, yeah, Utkarsh, you can add, you can pitch in. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, definitely the first few months will look like a roller coaster for you because you'll be very new to the environment. But I think that is something which builds those skill in you, that composure, etc., is something which you will find yourself with all the people around you. So I think that is one tip that I would give to everyone who is joining any B school for that matter, is that build a good community around you, build a good set of friends. They will help you with that schedule. They'll help you with those reminders as to like about deadlines, assignments, etc. So I think building that community is important. Apart from that, I think there will be enough and sufficient support given by not just the placement committee, but also by other teams. We have other preparations team available. There are clubs and committees which will assist you with all the preparations, whether it's for the interviews or for the academics. So it will be a roller coaster initially. You will experience a lot of things for the first time, but I think that is something which will build your personality and profile, which is going to be necessary for the corporate. Yeah, just as Manish mentioned, there are a few good to have skills which people can focus on before they join, such as Excel or designing, etc., or Power BI dashboards, etc. These are the skills which might be required in corporate, and they might be interested in doing.
Okay. Manish, this question is for you. can you tell us about the dual degree that MDI Gurgaon provides, and how and which are the B schools, which are the international B schools that MDI Gurgaon has this dual degree with? Is it only ESCP Europe, and then which country, where, what? Yeah, all that.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I'll just talk about this. So it's only single B school, which is ESCP Business School in Europe.
Okay.
Now, ESCP Business School has a dual degree program with a lot of other universities as well. So it's not only it's MDI in India, but there are universities from Mexico, Argentina, from which also ESCP has a dual degree tie-up. So you'll find those students there as well.
Okay.
Now, ESCP has 6 campuses. So it's Paris, Berlin, Madrid, London, Turin, and Paris, Berlin, Madrid, London, Turin, and Warsaw.
Okay.
Now the thing is, the reason I forgot Warsaw was Warsaw campus has not been open to MDI students ever.
Okay.
So we are allowed to choose from these 5 campuses. Now, since London is not a part of EU, so if you choose London, you'll have to choose both the semesters in London.
Okay.
And if you choose any other country except London, any other city except London, so you don't have that London option with you anymore. Now, from Germany, France, Spain, and Italy, you will have to select France for 1 semester. And out of the other 3, any one for the other semester.
Okay.
Now, I also saw a question in the chat, like, how is the allocation done? So basically, when you get into the course in the month of September, I think you need to fill your choices till by August end or September first week, you need to fill your choices. So there are multiple specializations available at different campuses. So what happens is people do select the specialization. Now, based on the specialization, there are few campuses which give you those particular specialization. Now you select the specialization along with the campus, and you make a lot of choices. Then the allocation is done based on both your CAT score and the interview score, like the profile with which you entered into MDI, the weightage and the ranks there. That based on that, you get the choices. So for an example, if I was the first rank student when I entered into the IB course, so I will, my preference, I'll be given the first preference when giving the choices. So it goes on like this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Utkarsh, can you answer this? My score was 72 in 10th, 6 in 12th, 58 in grad. Please share insight. I'm not too sure if, I don't know. Did you get that question? Did you understand what the question is? Yeah, because I didn't.
The thing is that, I mean, you can't change your past, right? You can't change your profile. The only thing that you can do is that you can defend it in the interview if you are asked about it. If you are getting a shortlist from MDI, no matter how much percentile you have got, no matter what's your profile, if you have got an interview call, you have equal chances of clearing it as much as the other person do, right? I mean, you should not focus on what you have done in the past. Just figure out a way. People defend it. There are ways of defending it, right? Maybe you were involved in something else that time that has added more value to your life than your scores. So, I mean, it depends on you. So I don't think so anybody should be worried about their profile. Just give your best attempt in CAT, give your best attempt in the interview, and then that's it.
Right now, yes, I think, the focus should be actually on the CAT prep instead of thinking about anything else. Being a working professional, if I start now preparing for CAT, is it too late for 23 to take CAT in 2023? Chitrita, can you answer?
So I would say that it's not too late. I mean, this was kind of the time when I started my preparation. So you can definitely do it. Because see, end of the day, these are all, this is not calculus. This is not like you have to do derivatives or stuff like that. This is basic math. So it's just a little bit of logic to that. So if you're able to apply your brain a little, make your screw tight a little, I think it's not impossible at all. Like I said, it's about consistency. Just put in at least an hour every day, up to 2 to 3 hours per day, and that is more than enough. And you already have your weekends, so you need a lot of resources. I depended on, during my time I was enrolled with IMS, but I also depended on a lot of Facebook groups. So a lot of Facebook groups, they keep posting all these questions, so you can interact over there, you can ask questions, and maybe you can also say this is a better approach and all, and even YouTube. So I depended a lot on these two, so this is something you can also do.
Okay. What is the academic schedule like for human resource management? How different is it from PGDM academic schedule, as in the subjects, the electives and all? So is it like the first semester and the second semester pretty much the same, or is it, how does it work? Is it only by second year that you start getting newer subjects? Yeah. How does it work?
Right. So essentially, if I talk about the schedule in terms of the timings, if the classes usually go, like the starting time is 8:30, they may go on to 7:50, but it depends on the day. You will not have classes from 8:30 to 7:15 every day. It will depend on faculty schedule. You might have 2 classes a day, 3 classes a day, 4 classes a day. That's something a timetable is shared by the office. Now, if I talk about the subjects, so the term 1, we have 6 terms in a B school. So the term 1 is more or less common for both PGDM and HRM. All subjects are basically foundation courses in accounting, economics, etc. As you move towards the further terms, term 2 will have a little different subjects, term 3 will have different subjects. So from term 2, you will start getting subjects in HR which are very specific, such as performance management, compensation, etc. These are the subjects you will start getting in term 2 and term 3. There will be some subjects which are common, such as, let's say, research methodologies, which are common for both programs. That is something which will be common across both programs. But as you move towards your further terms, it starts getting different. Like, let's say from term 4, term 5, term 6, it might be very different from what is being done for. Electives are there for term 5 and term 6 for HRM. For core, the electives are for term 4, term 5, term 6.
Utkarsh, there's a question about PI. Can you give a tip on PI, as in the person is extremely terrified about PI, more than the exam, more than CAT?
See, there are 2 ways of tackling a question which you don't know answer of. First is to make a smart guess. So for example, I was asked that, the fundamental rights which are given just to Indians, so which is a fundamental right which is guaranteed to an Indian citizen as well as to a foreign citizen. So that I was able to think of that right to life, right to equality. This would of course be given to the foreign citizens also. Now, the second way, if you don't know the answer of it, then you will have to drive the interview in your way. So I did this also. So they were asking something about something related to computer science, the course which I pursued, and I diverted that to cybersecurity because I'm quite interested in that field and I've studied it also. I started talking about cryptocurrencies and all. So I kind of drove the interview to that space. I mean, these are the 2 ways, and you will only learn these ways by giving mock interviews.
Mock interviews. So basically, a lot of practice to sit and answer questions.
Answer random questions.
Random questions. Okay. Let's talk about the clubs and committees. How many clubs and committees? What all are the clubs and committees? I'll come to you regarding the clubs and committees, as in which are the ones you are a member of. Chitrata, can you talk about the clubs and committees? What all were are the clubs and committees, and which ones were you part of? And Utkarsh, Manish, and then Yog. Chitrata.
So basically, there are a lot of CNCs. So I think there are a total of 22. I may have lost.
You can add wherever.
So as far as I remember, there were 22, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Plus, there are student interest groups as well. So the thing is that if you are a part of any of these CNCs, you do get a CV pointer. So there are at least, like, not at least, but the number of people in each of the CNCs also vary. So if you have like 15 to 20, if you have only 10, so it depends on that. So depending on the position you hold in the CNC, your CV pointer also changes. So I would say that if you get into the college, very well apply to all of them, and not all of them, apply to them, and then see which would be your best fit. And of course, there are a lot of important CNCs also, and there are a lot of CNCs which have only one program in the whole year. Like for me, I was part of the TEDx team. So TEDx team had one huge program towards the start of 1 year. So during Feb, we have our TEDx whole thing. So for me, the rest of the year was quite fine, and only the 1 month was hectic. So I found it pretty good. Okay, 1 month I had to work a lot, and it's okay. But then there are teams like COPCOM, which Utkarsh and you are both part of, and then there's H&M. So these are the kind of CNCs where you have to work all the time, because you never know what kind of problem one might face. I think right now you might be facing a lot of these questions, because he's in COPCOM. A lot of people, keep asking him. He will be in charge of AdCom and so many things. So it all depends on how much time you want to put into each of your CNCs, and depending on that, also your pointer changes. So I would really suggest you get into at least 1 or 2 of them. But even if you don't, it's fine, but it adds a differentiating factor.
So it's not a compulsory thing that you have to be part of any clubs or committees, but it obviously helps. Obviously, yeah, it helps.
It's not necessary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Utkarsh, which are the clubs and committees you were a member of?
So I was a member of corporate communications team.
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
One that, and one because I was very interested in marketing. I did my majors in marketing as well. So I was part of Illumina, which is a disguised market research club of MDI, and one of the unique things about MDI. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What is so unique about it? As in,
so basically, companies do market research before launching a product or before launching anything, right?
Yeah.
So many of these researches are conducted in a way that you are asking questions from people and they are answering it. So there's always a bias involved in the research.
Yeah.
What we do is we do research for companies, but in a very unbiased way that even the people that we are doing research on, they are not aware of it. So one experiment which we did with our juniors is that we placed 2 or 3 hand washes in their washing area near the mess. And we installed a camera there, and we wanted to see that people are using which hand wash more.
Okay.
We're not knowing that we are doing this research. So things like this.
Nice. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah. Manish, which clubs and committees? Yeah.
So I was a part of the cultural committee.
Okay.
And I was a part of the drama club as well.
But was it only so when you were saying MDI Gurgaon clubs and committees and you were part of all this?
Yeah.
Where is the ESCP angle coming? As in, were you member there as well in something? How does it work?
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, since you are a part of MDI, you get an option to join all the clubs and committees in MDI.
Correct.
That is one of the doubts I face a lot from the students. Okay. So yeah, you get to participate in almost all of and cultural committee is something that you need to be a part of the campus when you are doing it. Right. But still, I was a part of the cultural committee and an active part. The second thing is, just I'll mention this before going to the ESCP clubs and committees. What Chitrita said was that committees and clubs are for like they provide you good CV pointers and stuff like that. Yeah, it's definitely good from the academic point of view. But from the personal point of view, I saw one of the questions here, like how to get through the hectic schedules and stuff.
Yes.
I being a part of the cultural committee, things were very light. We had a lot of work, but we had enjoyed a lot as well. It gives you the cultural committee, the committees and the clubs gives you a break from your regular day-to-day hectic schedule as well, so that you get time to enjoy your campus life. And you definitely make a lot of friends over there as well. So which I think which will be with you after college as well. Right. So it helps you to navigate through those tough parts. And when you are going to ESCP, you get to be part of not all the clubs and committees, but a few of them. The reason being, when we enter ESCP, till then, already some clubs and committees have been formed.
Okay.
So you don't have much idea about which clubs and committees are going to form then. So I remember, though I was not a part of any clubs and committees over there, but I remember 2 of my friends being a part of ESCP FinTech Society.
Okay.
So they were contributing to the FinTech Society, and 2 of my juniors also joined there. So there are people who have joined some other clubs and committees over there. So I think 4 or 5 were open for us this time.
Okay, okay.
The
Well,
numbers
tell
are
me,
increasing.
when you get your your degree, PGDM, IB, it's a dual degree in the sense, like, is it like, it's, what does it mean? What is it that is mentioned there? Is it like
Okay.
ESCP Europe with MDI Gurgaon? Is it MDI Gurgaon and ESCP Europe? How is it?
So it's
Which
the
one?
latter. It's the latter. It's
Okay.
MDI Gurgaon and ESCP Europe. So you get 2 degrees. So the curriculum has been designed in a way where you cover almost all the aspects of the requirement of an Indian PGDM course. And also you cover all the aspects of the requirements of an MIM course, Masters in Management in Europe.
Okay. Yeah.
So you get 2 separate degrees. So till now our convocation has been done in MDI, and we have got a degree from MDI Gurgaon, which is a PGDM in international business. The next year there will be a convocation from ESCP Europe, and we'll be receiving a Masters in Management degree from ESCP Europe. So there will be 2 separate degrees. And with that ESCP Masters in MIM, the MIM degree,
right, MIM degree,
you get an equal status of any student doing an MIM in Europe. So you can apply for jobs and everything based on that. A lot of my friends have been doing that.
Correct.
Right now.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. You can you tell us about the clubs and committees overall, if anybody has missed any? And yeah, you are part of the corporate communication, and any other clubs any other clubs, committees?
Right. So Chitrata was pretty much spot on the numbers. There are 22. There are 16 which are clubs and 6 are committees. We also have student interest groups, so 7 of them. So the details about each of them is available on the website. The website has been updated with every recent detail. People can go through and read up about each and every thing that is offered by MDI. I am, yes, part of the corporate communications committee. And I'm also part of one of the academic clubs, which is HR direction. So it is a club which works on generating content specific to HR. And like I was also under the music vertical of Sanskriti, which Manish was a part of. So I was under, it's called Mandolins. So I was a part of that as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's move to internships and placements, and let's cover it quickly. So yeah. Okay. As far as internships and placements are concerned, I just have one question from you regarding the process, as in, is the HRM internship placements a separate thing, or is it all together? PGDM, IB, I think, is a separate one, right? Yeah. Okay. But for HRM and PGDM, is it like one are the interviews all together? Is the process all going on simultaneously for all?
The process is consolidated.
But HRM, people can sit for the PGDM, the general MBA interviews as well?
That's something dependent on the organizations. They will release a list and eligibility criteria. There are different things. So for any discussion or any doubts related to that, there is a very detailed placement report available. People can go through it. It tells you what are the roles offered, the industry-wide divide, etc. But yeah, it's a consolidated process.
Okay. Yeah. To talk about your experience, your placement experience, how was it? And then Utkarsh, and then Manish. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Chitrata.
So basically, talking about my experience, so how I got my internship. So usually consulting companies, I got into Accenture Strategies, which is a consulting company. So they look at good academic records plus a good amount of work experience. So however, I realized that maybe my profile may not be very very great, very extraordinary to get shortlisted. So what I did was I participated in case competition. So Accenture Strategy and many other companies also, they hold case competitions before the summer internships or the final finals basically. So I was able to become the campus runner-up, and because of that I got a PPI. So it doesn't matter how your acads were, if you had 7, you had 6 or anything. If you get a PPI, you get an equal amount of opportunity to convert as a normal shortlisting with an extraordinary profile does. So this is something that I would tell a lot of people who do not have extraordinary profile or extraordinary academic records to apply for these kind of opportunities, because not a lot of people apply to them in the first place, because like people said here that the first 1 or 2 months are going to be hectic. So this is like an additional burden. But if you're able to crack it, I mean, nothing better than that. So for me, it was kind of easy because within 1 month I was signed out. So a lot of people were signed out before me who did not even do all of this. So it all depends on luck also. It depends on your profile, but you also have to attribute a lot of it on the luck to get shortlisted. So it depends on that.
Yeah, Utkarsh, your experience, your personal experience.
So again, I got into Dr. Reddy's with a very formal procedure, as in the shortlist, the GD, and the interview part. Also, this interview was also very random. I don't know why people are always testing me on my communication skills and whatnot. So I was.
But was this your internship? You interned with the same company? You interned with Dr. Reddy's? And then
I then got the PPO from there only.
Yeah.
So I mean, the only interview which I gave in MDI was the summer internship experience. I mean, more about the interview, I'll talk about my summer internship experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, see, people are very confused when they get into a B school, as in which profile they have to take, especially the freshers. They are not able to figure out, I mean, which profile they want to get into. So I guess summer internships is the best way where you can experiment where you want to go and where you want to not. Because I was always interested in sales and marketing, and my summer internship experience was all about doing research, roaming markets. I roamed, I mean, markets for like 2 months straight with ASMs, with sales managers, and the experience was pretty good. And the companies which visit these management schools, their management trainee programs, their internship programs, they are very reputed programs. So you actually get a lot of learning there. So I mean, my summer internship experience was really nice. A lot of learning.
You were saying something about communication. Yeah, everybody was testing your communication for some reason. Yeah, what was that all about?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to it because
I mean, it shouldn't be tested.
Yeah.
I think you've got a good communication skill for sure. Or is it like the practice that you've had?
I don't know. I mean, how every interview is a pressure interview. Even in my Dr. Reddy's interview, the first thing which I was asked was that what is the wackiest thing that you have ever done? And I was like, what is this question?
Yeah. And how do you even answer? What if that if you are truthful about it, what if you get
actually you can't be even truthful about it. You have to be very diplomatic. You have to speak in such a way. I mean, I don't know, but this has been my experience. So
So do you so is your tip that if somebody is being asked this kind of a question, you need to be politically correct, right? And not to be honest about your
Of course.
Point to be
but it should not sound politically correct. It should sound very genuine.
That's your skill.
But it should be politically.
That's the pressure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Manish, can you talk about your
sure.
your placement experience?
So as far as our summer internship thing started, so while we were in Europe, our seniors, while we were in India, I think in the month of December, we started applying for companies in Europe.
Okay.
Because the normal trend there is that you need to apply for, as I said earlier as well, 200 to 300 companies to land into an internship.
Okay.
So it was more than 300 applications that I did.
Okay.
And I landed with 2 internships, out of which I started none. Because both of I was initially allocated into the Paris campus, and I got my internships in Germany. Now, there was some visa issues because during that time, the Ukraine crisis was going on. And my internship was more than 3 months. So you're allowed to do an internship for 3 months outside the country that you're studying in.
Okay.
But if you have an internship of more than 3 months, then you need to apply for a work visa.
Okay.
So I applied for a work visa, but the application was so long at the Paris embassy because of the Ukraine issue. There were a lot of refugees coming in Europe. So I didn't have a visa. So I could not start with that internship. And it was with one of the very top consulting firms, EY.
Okay.
So later on, I did a remote internship for a company. It was based in USA.
Okay.
So, as most of the remote internships goes, it was not very tough. It was chill, and it was in a product management role. So Yeah, I learned quite a good things about product management there. But yeah, this was about the whole experience. But giving
Okay.
that, a lot of students have got a very good exposures during the internships as well. So right now I know that a lot of people are interning because you get a 6 months internship period, 5 to 6 months internship period in Europe. So the internships that we do in India is only of 2 months.
Yeah.
So a 6 months project is basically a more extended project, and there the thing is, it's not a separate project as it is in India. People there work mostly on the projects that the company is doing.
Correct.
As a part of the daily activity. So you get to learn a lot of as to how the business is progressing there as usual. Yeah.
Okay. Chitrita, have you joined already Accenture, or are you also going to be joining soon?
I'll be joining in July.
Okay, so all of you are joining soon then. Okay. Before we wrap up, any particular tip for all the MBA aspirants? You can start, then Utkarsh, then Manish, then Chitrita. Utkarsh and Manish, you could probably give PI tips, and Chitrita and you CAT tips. Yeah.
Right. So based on my experience,
and how to keep yourself motivated throughout. Especially when you're waiting for calls, especially if you have got a bad CAT day. What do you do? How do you keep yourself focused for the other tests like ZAT and the other tests that are there? Yeah, all that. Yeah.
Right. So based on my experience, I would say that, as I think I agree with all like Utkarsh, Manish, and Chitra, that mocks is something which you can't ignore. I think mocks is something which gives you that edge. I believe that during my CAT 21 as well, I think that was something which helped me, since I think my verbal was good. Like it was good in as in terms I was pretty decent at it, but even the section was pretty easy. So I was able to get a good number of attempts and get a good accuracy. But EILR was pretty tough, I guess. I attempted only 8 questions and it was getting pretty difficult. So what I'd suggest as a tip to everyone who's preparing for CAT is that keep your focus on mocks and spend equal or more amount in the analysis of the mock. Solve each and every question that was there on the mock, see where you got wrong, not just the question you got right. Also look at the questions in a way, can they be solved in a different approach, in a faster approach? That is something which you should look at. Look at the number of attempts, look at the trends as to how you are performing in different sections. And yeah, I think in terms of motivation, I think what can help is basically talking to different people and realizing that it's something which happens with everyone. If you guys see the Excel sheet of my mock scores, it has fluctuated from 40 percentile to 90 percentile to 99 percentile. It has been at everywhere, 50, 60, 70 everywhere. It does fluctuate. It's something which happens with everyone. You may take a break of a few hours when you feel that okay, you are a little demotivated, but come back at it. I used to enjoy CAT prep a lot, so I think I used to come back at it even after a bad mock. I used to take it as a challenge that okay, at this mock I think I'll try to address this specific problem of mine. So I think that is something which I would suggest.
Utkarsh, PI tip.
Okay, so
and keep yourself motivated. Yeah, how do you keep yourself motivated also?
See, one thing which I realized the problem is that people have made CAT a very big thing. I mean, my brother-in-law, who has graduated in 2008, I mean, at that time, people used to prepare for CAT for just 2 or 3 months, like how Manish did, right? But now it has become a whole thing that you start preparing it from a year and there's a defined syllabus and something like that. So I would tell you that don't make it a big thing. It's just a syllabus of your class 9th and class 10th. All of the guys here have already passed it. Also, because see, CAT is the exam where, of course, you will be asked questions which are very difficult. But the key is that you have to identify it and you don't have to answer it. You don't have to spend your time on it. It's more about time management than your ability to answer the difficult questions. And there'll be always set of 10 to 11 easy questions in every set. And if you do well, if you identify those questions well, and if you do well in those questions in every set, then definitely you are gonna get a very good percentile. So it's more about decisions, right? Also for the interviews, I guess, work on your communication skills, appear very smart when you are in the interview. Don't consider your interview as a interviewee relationship. Make it more like a conversation. Be very genuine, be very frank. The other person should enjoy your energy.
Correct.
And don't make CAT your only goal of your life.
Right.
That gives you more pressure. I mean,
Mm.
keep it as a goal, but if you're not able to ace it, if it's not in your luck, because it's more about luck also, then you will have to move forward with other things. So,
okay. Okay. Yeah. Chitrita. Yeah.
Adding on to Utkarsh, I think one important thing is a lot of people miss this hidden gem, that is theta, type in the answer. So I'll tell you my personal experience. So for me, DILR was very hard. My set was really hard. So I don't know how, but I just there was one set where there were all the 4 questions were type in the answer, and out of 4, I typed all the answers, and 3 of them were right. They were all random. Within the last 2 minutes, I typed 3 answers, and out of 4, I got 3 of them right. Total 9 marks additionally. So do not forget, it's okay. Like just put in random numbers. Sometimes with the type of question, also you try to you can gauge that okay, your correct answer may be in the range of 1 to 4 or 5 to 8 or something like that, whatever it is. So if you're able to gauge it and just put in the number, it's easy score. If the luck is with you can easily get it.
Good
And
tip.
like Utkarsh said, CAT is not the end of the world. It's okay, it's just one exam. And if a lot of people, they attempt CAT once, twice, thrice, or even 4 times. It's okay. It's not meant for everybody, and not everyone is meant for it. So just think of it like that.
Okay. Yeah, Manish, your tip.
So first thing is, like, guys, whether it's a CAT or whether it's your PI, you need to be very calm and composed during the examination and during the interviews, because as there are 3 sections in CAT, so the first section might go not as well as you might have thought of. The same thing happens with PI. Your first 2 questions might not be very accurate or might not be very satisfying to you, but you never know what impression it has left on the interviewer on the other side.
Correct.
The best thing to do is to leave that burden of not answering the first 2 questions well and go ahead with the next questions with more energy, I would say.
Right.
Okay, this is something. The second thing is, it doesn't matter, I think, like what you feel about your answers. It matters what the interviewer feels about your answer as well. Like, as a personal example, I gave NEET interview and MDI interview to like within a span of, I think, 4 or 5 days. My NEET interview, I thought that it went perfectly well. It was very well very good given interview from my point of view.
Right.
Because I could drive all the answers and everything. The questions were coming from my perspective, and I drove the next few set of questions as well. And with MDI, I was like, the interview was okayish. It was not good. But on the D day, I got a very high wait list in NEET and a short list in MDI.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay? So things do matter a lot. Like, what is the perspective that you have left on the interviewer? That is very important compared to what you think how your interview went.
Yeah. So I would like to thank all the attendees for the lovely questions, and I would like to give my special thanks to all the panelists who have joined us today from MDI Gurgaon. Thank you, Yug Sharma. Thank you, Utkarsh Vijayvargya. Thank you, Manisha. Thank you, Chitrayata Gorain. Thank you so much for being here today and give us such insights on MDI and all the things about CAT prep. Thank you.